news segment sponsored by Gig and Giancola. Join with us now, attorneys Michael Gig, Christopher Giancola. Welcome in, you guys.
Good morning. Thanks for having us again.
Yes, already a hot one out there today.
Absolutely.
Yes. For those that don't know the types of law that you practice, you guys kind of both handle different parts of the spectrum here when it comes to practicing law. What do you specialize in?
Yes. All right, well, I do a lot of our workers' compensation, Social Security, disability, and our personal injury cases. And Mike does a lot of our questions in regarding easements, which we're going to be talking about today, real estate, wills, trusts, and regular probate and estates.
Yes, and people are able to write in and submit questions on the show here. You're able to answer them. We had this one submitted to us over on Facebook, I believe, last week. Okay, Mike, so this says, how do I remove my neighbors from a joint easement? My neighbor's sidewalk is on my property, and we haven't been getting along, so now I want my property back.
So it appears there's maybe two issues going on here, but you probably need a little bit more context here. But so first of all, what is an easement? Basically, an easement is you have a right to use another person's property for a specified purpose. Excuse me. As opposed to you hear a lot of people say easement and right of way as if they're the same thing. So a right of way is a kind of easement. And a right-of-way is specifically just to go across someone's property, like a path or a road or something like that. Easements encapsulate a lot more as far as rights to use someone else's property. So to extinguish an easement can be very, very difficult. Now, when this person says a joint easement, again, you probably need more context here, but typically an easement is referenced in someone's deed. So if you have a property, the deed would reference there's an easement for they can say ingress and egress. Maybe somebody has to use your property to get to their property.
Right.
But there can be other easement rights. Another typical one is like a utility easement for someone like, a utility company like Penelec or somebody to run their lines through your yard, things like that. Now, to extinguish an easement can be very difficult. For these people, this wouldn't be possible because they say they don't get along, but you can do it jointly by agreement to say, hey, the purpose of the easement, we don't need it anymore. Maybe I had to use your property before to get to my property, but there's a different road put in, so I don't need that anymore. So you can have a writing prepared that says, hey, we agree this easement doesn't need to be here anymore, and you extinguish it by agreement. Now, if you are not on good terms with your neighbor, it can't just be, listen, we don't get along, I want to get rid of that easement. It's not that easy. One way is it could be abandoned. So maybe someone doesn't use the easement for its purpose for a long time, but just not using it doesn't extinguish it, okay? A typical way an easement could be extinguished is by what's something called adverse possession, all right? Meaning, okay, someone has an easement on my property, but for that purpose, I use my own property in a way that goes against what their easement rights were, okay? And I do that for a period of 21 years consistently, and my neighbor doesn't object to it. They see me doing it. It could be extinguished that way. It could be that the purpose is not needed anymore, and it's extinguished that way. But it can be very difficult if the other person who has easement rights on your property doesn't want it extinguished. It can be very, very difficult. Yeah,
really convoluted. And we didn't even get to the part when it snows and who's, hey, you use it too, or a tree fall. There's a lot to this.
Now, the other issue that I think the question poses is something like a sidewalk that's on your property. Now, that's like an encroachment issue where it could be, a dispute as far as property lines go. There could be something like an ejectment action filed to say that, hey, your sidewalk is coming onto my property, over my line. I'm objecting to that. Now, again, that property owner could claim like an adverse possession, saying, hey, the sidewalk was there for 21 years. You never objected to it. You've seen it all these years. But with these cases, I can give a general overview, but they're very fact specific. Yeah. And if this person had additional questions, they should definitely reach out to an experienced real estate attorney to go over.
See what you guys have to deal with
Yeah.
over Sidewalk?
Yeah, this would be a pretty long consultation to go over the actual
Yeah.
specifics of it.
I
That's
guess.
generally how it works.
Hey, if you really want to get technical, if your neighbor really makes you mad, you really want to get back at him, maybe that's your route. And of course, people can reach out to you guys right here on the show as well. Write in your questions, and of course, reach out to Gig and Jancola in a variety of ways. All that information there on your screen. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate your time. Stick around for this on the show.